Hi guys, this is Karim Amir from EngBOK. Today I'm gonna give you a quick overview about the CFPS course. As you know, CFPS it is a top credential in fire protection from NFPA, Certified Fire Protection Specialist. As you may know, NFPA they have different category for certification. They have associate level, professional level, and expert level. As you can see here through NFPA websites, this is like examples of the associate level for the new entry, for the people with few years of experience. Then professional level, like certified fire inspector and fire plan examiner. But the top one, expert level, like CFPS and certified marine chemist. This is just specific one for the marine, but our main core here, top credential and expert level certification is CFPS. It's just for your information. So these certificates or credential, it's covered mainly in the CFPS candidate book here, this one. There's 12 sections which covers this exam contents based on Fire Protection Handbook, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So if you want to see here in detail, this is the CFPS candidate book, this year edition, 2023. So let's remove this one. So it's still the same edition of 2020 with the same 12 sections. The exam is still not changed yet. However, NFPA already issued the 21 editions of the Volume 1, Volume 2. But the exam content still based on the same 12 sections. As you see here, the first section, safety and built environment. Second one, basics of fire and fire science. Third one, information analysis of fire protection. Fourth one, human behavior. Fifth one, the fire prevention with the material, process, and the environment. Next one, facility fire hazard management and system approach to property class, organizing fire and rescue services, detection and alarm, water-based fire suppression system, fire suppression without water, and last one is confining fires. So these are 12 sections, okay, as mentioned in CFPS candidate book. So in detail, these sections are gathered by the exam committee from this Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Fire Protection Handbook, which consists of 12, as you see here, 21 sections and around 211 chapters, 3,500 pages. So some people confused why we have 12 sections in the candidate book and here 21 sections, because the exam committee, they gathered the related subjects from this Volume 1, Volume 2, and they just put it inside 12 sections. So don't think 12 section, it's a mirror for this section. No, just whatever related here from this Volume 1, Volume 2, it will be covered in the exam under the sections outlined in the candidate book. That's why we come here as EngBOK. We covered these 12 sections based on Volume 1 and Volume 2, and we highlighted here in our course with 6 lectures, duration between 15 to 20 hours based on the individual or group courses. So as you see here, lecture number 1, we cover 2 sections, 1 and 2, safety and built environment, basics of fire science, and every lecture is the same. We cover 2 sections from the CFPS candidate book, but we insert or enclose the important chapters, section, and the pages, tables, charts, whatever required from the Volume 1, Volume 2 in our courses. So here, for example, in the first lectures, as we said, we cover section 1, section 2, which is 15 questions in the exam. So in section 1, it's basically about safety in built environments. Built environment means any environment built by human. Like, for example, building facility, like ship, like airplane, like submarine. But natural environment, as you know, it is natural environment like mountain, like rivers, like sea, something in nature, okay? So every lecture we have initially some definitions which give you a solid understanding about the lecture, the objective. Then we highlight every lecture, the main pages, sections, and chapters required from volume 1 or volume 2 related to CFPS candidate book. As you see here is the candidate book, and this the highlighted chapters and sections from volume 1 or volume 2 based on the lectures. Then we give overview every lecture. For example, here when you see 1.2, it means section number 1, chapter number 2. Here, section number 1, chapter number 3. So while you are studying these lectures and you understand the content, you can then compare this one to the volume 1, volume 2 here. So for example, when I say here 1.2, fundamentals of structurally safe building design, you should only focus about basic building system like envelope system, structure system, foundation system, and you'll find this one here. You go again, section number 1 here, open it, select section chapter number 2, and highlight the pages as highlighted in the lectures here. Okay, this is a strategy of the course study to prepare for the exam. Every lecture covers 2 sections. You will find initially the highlighted pages or chapters or sections in volume 1, volume 2 related to the CFPS candidate book, and every slide you will see the important content from the volume 1, volume 2. This is our strategy, which makes you understand, learn properly, and you know how to solve the exam. Then when we go to the course here, for example, starting with the first lecture, section number 1, safety and built environments, we covered here fundamentals of structurally safe building design. So you should focus here on the design load and the forces like dead load, life load. You should know examples of each and what does they mean. Here also basic building system and components. You should know what is the envelope system of any structure or any facility, what is the structure system and what is the foundation system, with the required table, chart, or any formula required. Also, section number 1, chapter number 5, we have the fire prevention and the code enforcement. Like, you should read in depth to understand what is the code enforcement for the people, what is the difference between permit, certificate, license, warrants, or rate tag, because you're gonna find a question in the exam. Compartmentation, like section number 1, chapter number 9, section number 2, chapter number 5, as we are familiar now. So it's the containment of interior fire. It's very important to know what is the compartmentation, either horizontal or vertical, in order to divide the building internally into segments to protect the people during evacuation and reduce the losses. Not only to have a fire-resistant building from outside, you should also have internal compartment or segments, for example, between the corridor apartment, between shafts apartment, between apartments, or between even warehouse and, for example, another facility type. should always have compartmentation. It's very critical as a fire protection specialist to understand it and to know what is the horizontal and vertical compartmentation with the fire wall barrier or fire floor barrier. Like here, you should understand the color coding of the elements or barriers like shafts, like wall between apartment corridors, which is called life safety drawing, normally designed by architects. It's a part of architecture life safety drawing, but when you are fire protection engineer or specialist, you should understand all these disciplines, either mechanical, electrical, civil, structural, architecture. Then we focus about occupancy classification in section number 13, chapter number 4, section number 15, chapter number 4, light, ordinary, external hazards. And you should understand how to calculate the water demand either for a sprinkler system or for the standpipe and the hose hydraulically, not just using pipe schedule. No, this here, we care about hydraulic calculation. Also very important aspects, types of construction. You should understand what is the main types of constructions, either type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and subtypes, which are 10 subtypes. Each subtype has 3 digits. It's also crucial and very important to understand what is these 3 digits means. What they means, like here, 442, 332. It is very important to understand the first digits. It's for the exterior bearing wall. Second digit for the column, third digit for the floor or slab. So if you have, for example, this table here from NFPA 5000, you should understand how to understand and how to define these main types and subtypes. So main type maybe type 1 or type 3 or type 2 or type 4, 5, whatever, and subtypes is 3 digits here, okay, as you see here. And here definition, for example, 442, so 4 to be for the bearing wall, the other 4 will be for the column, okay, the third 2 will be for, as you see here, to be for the floor. Go here. Then every lecture we have a quick knowledge check, like quiz, similar to the exam question. Section number 2 here also discuss very important section. It's the basics of fire and fire science. Because without basics of fire and fire science, you cannot be a fire protection specialist. So here we discuss what is the heat transfer modes, conduction, convection, radiation. What is the units used in heat transfer? What is the temperature? How you measure it by thermometer, thermocouple, or pyrometers? What is the unit used for energy, for power, heat, and for temperature? And the very important aspect or property, it's called specific heat. You should understand what is specific heat to understand and define the fire point for any material. How much this material need of heat in order to start its fire point. It's very important. Also, the part of physics and the chemistry of fire, you should understand the flame structure, either premixed or diffusion. Which one is better? Which one has a higher flame temperature? Which one is preferred in the combustion process? Also, stoichiometric mixture. What is stoichiometric and what is the exothermic and endothermic heat reaction? What is the air entrainment during combustion process? How you define reactants and the products in any combustion process? What is the impact of nitrogen inside the air and the combustion in a separated room with pure oxygen? Also, the governing equations for the different modes of heat transfer, conduction, convection, radiations, and some basics videos for the flame structure and the difference between premixed and diffusion. Another important subject here, it's called the fire configuration, which divide or have some types of fire configuration like pool fire, compartment fire, wall fire, parallel wall fire, or corner or ceiling fire. Either it's deep-seated fire or surface fire. You should understand all this kind of fire configuration in order to estimate the heat transfer rates, either by convection, conduction, radiation, and how to make a model for it in order to prevent the fire or protect the fire. Also, flammability hazards, it's based on the quantifications, like how much it has flammable, or how much is the flammability hazard of this material, and how easy this material to ignite, and what is the damage of this heat on the products or on the spread of flame. This all called flammability hazards. Also should understand thermal inertia, which is three product, conductivity, density, and heat capacity, in order to understand the process or the technique of protection or fighting any fire during a fire scenario in your performance-based design or prescriptive design. Also, flash points and boiling points, fire points, very important to differentiate between them. You should understand the heat release rate and how we measure it in the lab, large scale, or just lab scale, small scale. Smoldering fire, flaming fire, should understand also the difference between them. This with high content of smoke, this with higher flaming temperature. Flashover is crucial aspect in the firefighting. You should understand the conditions for flashover to occur for any facility with the temperature and heat flux, and the fire classification based on fire growth, starting from growing stage, steady state, and decay. Sometimes there's another classification we'll talk about later. Also, we have the relation between the flame temperature and the color, and some basic video for the fire signs and flashover inside office building to give you more elaboration, more understanding about fire basic and science like pyrolysis, like combustion, endothermic, exothermic, premixed diffusion. All these called fire science basics, either chemistry or physics. Without knowing these basics, you cannot be fire protection specialist. Second lecture, we covers section 3 and 4, information and analysis of fire protection and human behavior. These are also crucial because any fire department or civil defense or any insurance company, they should have analytics information about the fire protection in order to either amend the code, modify the code, how to ensure this facility with how much amount, what is the vulnerability of this facility or organization to experience a fire. And human behavior, one of the most critical aspects in fire protection, to know what is the psychology of human during fire, how they impact, how they behave. Because some people, maybe they will fight the fire, maybe some people will re-enter the building even if there's fire inside, maybe there's family members, maybe they try to help. Some other people, they're still sleeping, they don't care. Some people in US or UK, based on the analysis and researches, they call the neighbors to make sure there's a fire. So it's called human behavior. It will impact your design, egress capacity, occupant load factor, and asset and asset modeling. for evacuation time. So basically, in information analysis, we discuss the analytics of deaths, injuries, risk, and hazards with many tables of perils causing harm to people, earthquake, volcanoes, and we have many tables analysis which is coming in the exam. Also, we discuss here in details the fire risk assessments or analysis. We have quantitative and qualitative. Qualitative, like risk matrix with likelihoods and consequence. So you can give here different colors based on your organization policy or based on you are following ISO or which codes. Every code or every standard, they have different template of the matrix, but the same concept. You have likelihood and you have consequence. You should give here a weight for each one. And finally, you have to give measures to control this risk. Other type, it's called quantitative, okay, like scenario based. What happened, then what happened, like event tree, okay? Till you get the solution at the end. It's like probability. You should give numbers here at each stage, and finally, you multiply this number. If you have and or, you have to multiply or just add. If you have and, you should multiply. If you have or, you should add. Till you have the final number here or the final digit for probability to understand what is the risk value, and you can give for this risk value some measures for control. Also, we have the closed form enclosure, fire inside the compartment, different fire configuration. We have axisymmetric fire, wall and the line fire. What is the thermal plume, velocity and temperature inside the center of the plume? What is the impact of these properties? Fire bloom is crucial also to understand fire bloom if you are working in modeling of fire. Also to design the detection, type of detection like smoke or heat, so based on the fire signal, based on smoke management also inside the building. Section number 4, human behavior in fire emergency. As we mentioned, you should understand the psychology of the human behavior during fire and how to design the egress, like egress itself, the exits and the exit charge. You understand also the asset and asset. You have to make sure that asset always bigger than asset in order to have a safe evacuation and safe tenable area. It's called tenability limits. You should have to make modeling here based on the smoke, the heat flux, radiation, heat release rate. What is the smoke layer heights? Okay, based on your code, sometimes 1.8, sometimes 2. And basically it's 1.8. It should be higher than this in order to have a safe evacuation. And also heat release rate, what is the toxicity, like CO, like HCl and HCN. Also, you should understand what is the factors which impact each asset or each asset and calculate it with safety measure to have always assets bigger than asset during your modeling and the design of the building. With the egress capacity, with the width of staircase, with the corridor, types of door, panic door, what horizontal exit, access, whatever you have, and the smoke management system required or no, sprinkler required or no, all this covered in the asset and asset modeling for safe design. Also, you have here the difference between a corridor, which is horizontal, and walkway, or it's inclined like staircase and ramp, because it impacts the speed of people during evacuation with density and flow. Also, you have the capacity of exit, you have egress capacity, you have occupant load and occupant load factor. All this covered in NFPA 101. Also, you have the travel distance, you have the common path and the dead ends. You have panic doors, single or double. You should understand all these aspects in order to design a safe egress inside a building or facility. Lecture number 3, we cover the fire prevention, basically based on the material, process, and environments. Material like liquids or gas or solids. It covers 25 questions in the exam, so it's very important. We're starting here with the different chemical composition like hydrocarbon or cellulose and different physical material like liquid, gas, or solid. Also, we have here sensory irritation, and we have difference like pulmonary irritation because of the smoke during your fire egress design. You should understand what is the impact of this irritation on the people. Either you have elder people, you have children, whatever you have inside the facility. So we start here with section number 5, fire preventions. We have the solids, we have dust, metals, wood, plastic, fibers, all these examples for the solids. Then we have the gases, different gases, like flammable combustible gases. Then we have liquid, flammable combustible liquids, and polymers. Then we have the process itself, like manufacture and storage of aerosol products. We have the storage and handling of solid fuels and storage of gases. Air moving equipment like kitchen hood exhaust, air conditioning and ventilation inside any facility. Chemical process, protection of electrical equipment, oil quenching and fuel cells, because all of these, they have questions in the exam. Also welding and storage of grains and semi-conductor manufacturing, heating system appliances, and housekeeping is crucial to prevent any fire, especially in the industry and warehouses storage. You should have a good housekeeping practices. Section number 6, facility fire hazard management. Normally here we discuss the industrial fire loss prevention, the PIP, pre-incident planning, the fire department apparatus. You should understand the component equipment inside the fire department apparatus, like fire trucks. You should know the pump, the capacity, the hose, the water tank, ladder, the foam, okay, and what type of fire trucks for which facility, based on the classes, based on the location. Also, the type of engine and brake system for these trucks, either primary or secondary. PIP is very important to know the planning process for PIP. Pre-incident planning is very crucial for any fire department and civil defense or insurance company to have PIP process in order to have the whole history of the building or facility before the fire incident. So if they have fire incident and they receive call or emergency, they could act properly and adequately with the proper people, staff, proper fighting equipment, proper time to approach this facility as faster as possible. All this during proper PIP planning process. Of course, every lecture we have summary and the quiz at the end of lecture to give you the whole understanding and to check your learning from this lecture. Lecture number 4, we discuss or covers section 7 and 8, system approach, property class. We have different property class like high-rise building, office building, warehouse, manufacturing housing, and we have fire rescue services. So here we covers the life safety in the building, assessment, different property classifications like board and care facility, lodging room like something like hotels, smaller, manufactured housing, high-rise building, educational occupancy, library and museum, industrial occupancy, special structure. Then we move to fire rescue services. Here, it's very important also in order to prevent the fire to have a fire and life safety education or training for the staff or for the people in school or for the occupants in any facility in order to prevent the fire. Because as we know, it's crucial to understand the fire protection or fire safety. What is the goal of fire protection and safety? It's first to prevent, prevention, then detection, then suppression. This is the goal. So prevention mainly by learning and educating people. Then to provide material which is safe, non-hazardous material, like material with lower smoke development index, smaller flame spread index, low flammability, low combustibility, and also to have a good practice like the safe distance between, for example, ignition source and the combustible material, the housekeeping, maintenance in the facility, all this called fire prevention. Last one was the material, solid, liquid, and the gas, either process or either storage or either manufacturing industry. That's why we always have material safety data sheets before we store any material or dealing with this material. Second one, detection, as you know, maybe the heat or maybe smoke, maybe flame, maybe other combustion product. So you have, like, for example, fixed heat temperature, heat detector or rate of rise. Maybe you have smoke detector like ionization or photoelectric type, or maybe air sampling type, video detection type. You have CO detection, you have flame detection. Last one, suppression. Maybe it's water-based or without water. Water-based, as you know, maybe sprinkler system, a hose system, standby, class 1, class 2, class 3. And without water, as you know, maybe it's a clean agent like inert gas or halocarbon, like FM200, or maybe by foam, maybe by CO2 system, maybe fire extinguishers. So these guys, the main goal of fire protection and fire safety, to understand prevention, detection, and suppression. Then here we discuss the benchmarking performance evaluation inside any facility organization in order to convince top management to support you when you make need assessments and fire risk assessments. Sometimes you require support financially or support by the top management to give you orders to proceed. Also here we discuss the PPE, personal protecting equipment, and CESPA, and some codes of OSHA required during your, for example, you have work permits inside confined space, whatever, you should have the protective equipment proper for you as per OSHA standard. As we discussed earlier, PIB planning is very crucial to understand the size up process, which is called WAS-WILS, this acronym. Okay, you should understand construction, occupancy, apparatus, life hazard, water supply, auxiliary appliance, street conditions, weather, exposures, area height, location, time, hazardous material. All this gathered in just 3 words called WAS-WILS. This is main crucial part of PIB size up process. And also for people education, you should understand the education process for the people based on the people psychology or people physiology. Also EMS, emergency medical services, for the fire department people. You should understand the fire department people or civil defense people, they don't not only fight the fire, but also they should understand how to treat the injured people during fire, which called emergency medical services. Lecture number 5, we discussed or covers very major subject here or topics: detection, alarm, and water-based fire suppression. It's major because it covers 30 questions in the exam. So first we have very important definitions, and we have here the section number 9, detection alarm, 10 questions exam. We cover types of circuits required and signaling in the fire alarm system. What is the supervisory signal? What is the trouble signal? What is alarm signal? What is the supervising station? What is the type of power supply, secondary and power and primary? How you calculate the battery size? What is the class A, class B for any wiring inside the fire alarm system or detection system? Which one is better? What is the conventional, addressable, and analog addressable? Which one is more expensive? Which one is more complicated? Which one with zone, with the loop? What is the initiating circuits, ISD, or what is the notification circuits? Very important to understand all these terminologies. What is the type of detector, either to heat or smoke? Heat, like as we mentioned earlier, fixed temperature or rate of rise heat detector. For smoke, we have either ionization or photoelectric type. Photoelectric type has two main criteria or two main subtypes: obscuration and scattering. Then we have air sampling and video detection. This is as the latest technology. Then notification appliance, you should understand and differentiate between the audible system and the visible system as a notification, okay? Should not drop the flasher, the speaker, the horn, the bell. 6 decibel rule, it's very important also. And what is the switches, like vent type water flow, supervisory switch, and low temperature switch, which one inside the tank, which one is a pump, which one is the sprinkler valves. Also ITM, it's crucial to understand the inspection, testing, maintenance for fire detection system. What is the difference between reliability and maintenance, especially with the battery lifetime. Then section number 10, water-based 20 questions exam. It's also a major part. We cover here the fixed water storage supply. Maybe it will be suction tank, gravity tank. What is the airlock? How you calculate the heat loss inside tank, especially when there is freezing, freezed water or frozen water, or freezing, sorry, climate inside inside the cold countries like Canada, like US, like Europe. You should calculate the heat loss inside these water tanks. Also, we have here a very important part for engineers, hydraulics for fire protection. We discussed Bernoulli equation, Hazen-Williams equation, Darcy equations, equivalent lengths, measurement of flow by pitted tube, like by Venturi, either it's open system, closed system. What is the C factor, how you calculate it? What is the standard C factor, 120 or 100, 130, 150, and how we make interpolation in order to calculate the friction loss, the equivalent length. Water supply for sprinkler system, okay, it's either by private or public system. Again, how you calculate water demand hydraulically for a sprinkler by the hazard type, by the occupancy or by operation area, and for a standby, either light or ordinary or extra hazards with the duration and GBM. Then we jump to the pumps, only listed pump as per NFPA. As you see here, horizontal split case, split suction end line, and you have vertical turbine with specific capacity and pressure. What is the difference between a relief valve and circulation relief valve? The main 3 points on the pump curve in order to select the pump properly, adequately. And the impact or effect of impeller design. How you calculate the horsepower for the diesel engine, for example, in the heated room or different temperature about standard or elevated area from the sea level. What is the brake tank? How you differentiate brake tank from the normal suction or elevated tank? What is the fire pump controller for jockey, standby, like diesel, and main like electrical? Cranking test, and reliable and unreliable power supply, sprinkler types for different application, either maybe storage, maybe different standard spray sprinkler, picker trunk sprinkler, how you select the proper type and what is the K factor, how you get the K factor, what is the basics behind the K factor, with the charge coefficient, with the size of sprinkler. You have to understand all this as a fundamental of fire protection. A sprinkler system like wet, dry, deluge, pre-action, difference between them. Then we have sprinkler for storage system. Maybe sometimes you have storage like pile, like rack, single or double row. You have pallet storage, solid pile storage. What is the proper sprinkler type, either in rack or ceiling type? Water mist system and the hose system for standby class 1, class 2, class 3, and the ITM for sprinkler system also crucial. You should make maintenance or testing or selection for sprinkler every how many years based on the system type. Maybe sometime 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, based on sprinkler type and conditions. Last lecture, number 6, covers section 11 and 12, fire suppression without water and the confining fires. So section 11, fire suppression without water, as you know, it means any fire suppression, we don't use a water as a main source of fighting. So it may be carbon dioxide, okay, as per NFPA 12. Maybe chemical extinguishing system, like fire extinguisher system, or chemical extinguishing wet chemical or dry chemical, like kitchen hoods. Could be foam extinguishing agents like AFFF or FFP based on flammable liquid type. Maybe fire extinguisher, you should know the classification, the use, the height of fire extinguisher, and the weight of agent. Based on this, you could put the extinguisher on the right location, right space, and the height. Clean agent, maybe inert gas, maybe halocarbon. We have different class of fire, A or B or C. You should understand what is the Lowell design concentration and how to calculate the demand or the quantity, minimum quantity, or design quantity of inert gas or halocarbon agents. Last section, number 12, confining fires. Here we means how we confine the fire in order to provide safe evacuation. Maybe passively, maybe actively. Passively, by the construction itself, like as we said, fire compartmentation, or the interior finish, or penetration sealing. Like if you have cable or pipe or duct penetrate, for example, fire-rated wall or door, you should provide fire sealing or fire stop, or you should provide fire stop structurally during your slab or walling, between wall and slab, and between wall and roof or ceiling. Actively by smoke management or smoke control system. So here we have the interior finish, class A, class B, class C, either for floor, for wall, for ceiling. And we have smoke management or development inside building, maybe dilution, pressurization, airflow, smoke management, and smoke containment. Like, what is the difference? Here we have different pressure zone, high, low. And here we have something like large atrium or warehouse by a smoke management system, okay? Penetration sealing, you should understand what is the difference rating, FTL, and how we provide the normal or proper class for each element, like window, glass, door, wall, how you make the proper fire sealing if you have penetration of cable or duct or pipe, and how we give the right rating for any element, like between apartments, 2 hours or 1 hour, between shaft and apartment, 1 hour, 2 hours, staircase, and so on. This was our lectures and the course. So finally, we have 6 lectures, as we mentioned. And after you finish, we provide you with mock exam, similar to the exam questions. So you have the lectures, the recordings, the exam as a mock exam, highlighting pages, and the tabbing, as we said, for the just important pages, chapters, and sections. So when you go here, this is, for example, volume 1 and volume 2, you should highlight like that, only the important pages from the lectures in order to find it easily in the exam. As we mentioned, based on CFPS handbook here, 12 sections. Also, you can be advised to download the fact sheets for some system from NFPA, like here for ESS, Energy Storage System, some questions exam. It's very important to know ESS, like battery system, deep sea fire, how to protect it. Also for occupant loads, calculation, and egress capacity, net and the gross area, how you differentiate between them. What is the difference between egress capacity and occupant load? Also for fire alarm, it's a very informative fact sheet here, gives you full information about fire alarm detection, supervising station, signal, notification signal, initiation signal, what's the difference between them? What is the troubleshooting? How you calculate the battery size here? What is the supervising stations type, like remote station, central station, laboratory stations? Okay, it's a very informative fact sheet. Also here for fire extinguisher fact sheets about the accessibility, visibility of extinguisher, the height and the weight, the class and use and the location. Also for fire bomb basics, types of bomb system, jockey, electrical, diesel. What is the difference between all of them? Different type of driver, like here electrical, steam turbine, and diesel. Different type of valve and ITM. Also here, a quick overview about sprinklers 13, okay, FAC and for warehouses. And here also, this, as we mentioned, for the sprinkler system. This is the final one for pumps, okay? So it's a very informative fact sheet. It's you advise to download from NFPA. Also another route, if you just want to study with NFPA, you can also go to NFPA website and select this learning path. Maybe you can just focus on individual module like life safety, human behavior, confining fires. You just click here and select your module, base amount per module. Or you can just download exams, practice exam from NFPA, different samples with this amount, or to select the last 2 options, training course from NFPA with this amount. This one's called skills bundle, different about around 41 training courses. And the last one is called premium, which covers everything, practice exam, training courses, and certificate of attendance. It covers the CEUs or BDH if you want to renew any certificate related to fire protection. Okay, guys, so this is our course. It's comprehensive, holistic. After this course, you should be able to pass the exam for first time, and you should have the required knowledge, learning, understanding to be honestly a fire protection specialist. Not only to have certificate, but you should have the proper learning, because our goal here to learn before earn. So if you are interested and you want to just register with us, you just can approach me or just Google it, EngBOK, and you can find our pages here on Google, our location, WhatsApp number. Just you can here also go to website directly. In the website here, you can find all our contact numbers, okay? And if you click here and contact us, you can chat the real time with us, or you can just submit your form and it will reach us. We can reply you as soon as possible. Another option, you can download our application here and just see our courses and how to register for it easily and simply. Also here, you can click here and go to LinkedIn page or profile, Facebook, YouTube channel with useful videos, and WhatsApp contact numbers. Okay, guys. Also, you can find here the reviews of the previous customers. Okay. This was our quick overview. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any inquiry, please let me know. Thank you so much. Good luck.